Hi everyone, welcome to Table for Two. I'm the elusive Bigfoot.
And I'm Wenzy. Today we're talking about our games that have an element of Star Trek, either directly or they just remind us of the Star Trek. We're big Star Trek fans. We like Star Trek games. So that's what we're talking about today.
We like our Star Trek. We watch a lot of Star Trek, for sure.
All right, so why don't you tell me about your first
You want me to
one?
go first?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one that I have actually is a direct correlation to Star Trek, and it is Flux.
Ah,
Flux has made several games about Star Trek, the original series, Next Gen. I think they even did Voyager. And there's an expansion called the Bridge expansion, so you can combine your Flux decks. So, and then they also
I think there's
made.
the captains. Look at all the different captains.
Well, there's a couple they haven't done yet, but they did those three. Then there's also a expansion pack that was released during International Tabletop Day that can kind of be blended, where it's got Felicia Day and Will Wheaton and a couple other things in there. So that is mine. And the first one is Flux.
All right, so my first one is an actual Star Trek game, Star Trek Chrono Trek. So it's based off a game called Chrononauts, where you get to adjust the historical timeline, and wacky things happen along the way. And in Star Trek Chrono Trek, got to get the title right, Star Trek Chrono Trek, it starts with the cards laid out roughly in the timeline that matches a couple of different series, the Star Trek series. So as you're playing the game, different events may or may not happen on that timeline. You may flip over the card that says discovering warp drive or something like that. And then what happens if you don't discover a warp drive? Well, then the Vulcans don't pay attention to you and everything changes down the road. So the idea in these Chrono Trek game is that you're trying to achieve a certain goal on a card, right? So maybe you want the canon timeline that matches the show.
Maybe that's your goal.
Maybe that's your goal, but maybe it's something different, like Klingons become victorious and rule the galaxy, something like that. So that's my pick, Star Trek Chrono Trek.
Okay. My next game is called The Captain is Dead. And it is a game where each player takes on the role of a specific character, and you're trying to prevent aliens from boarding the ship. At the same time, you're trying to fix your warp drive and take off out of there. And it is very clearly supposed to be characters that are similar to Star Trek, the different series. And it is a mind buster, because I think out of all the times we played it, we only ended up winning a fourth of the time, maybe.
It's a difficult game.
It is really hard to win, but it is so, so much fun. Highly recommend playing this kind of a game. It's not hard to understand. It's just that bad things keep coming up, because, bad things come up in Star Trek all the time.
And the longer the game goes, the worse the bad stuff gets.
So you really got to try and repair that warp drive as fast as possible.
All right, so that was Captain is Dead. The next one up on my list is also a Flux game. You mentioned the various Star Trek Fluxes, but the one I wanted to talk about was just something that reminds me of Star Trek, and it's actually called Star Flux. And so the imagery on the cards actually is evocative of a lot of different sci-fi themes, and not just Star Trek, but all kinds of anything you could think of. And so I really like it that it reminds me of Star Trek. There are certain cards that are just scream Star Trek. Other ones are just kind of generic aliens, or it might be evocative of something else, like War of the Worlds or some other thing like that. But Flux is kind of a wacky game anyway, where the goal keeps changing and the rules keep changing.
Yeah.
But you pick a theme, and at least the theme doesn't change.
That's
so
true.
We got Star Flux. It's about all things sci-fi.
Very nice. All right. My next game is a game that it's an older game, And this is going to sound crazy as I describe it, but just go down with me this path. It is called Space Cadets.
Space Cadets.
It is a game where each player, depending on how many you play, is going to take on 1 or 2 roles, sometimes 3 when you play 2 players. And so inside of that, you are going to be doing a whole bunch of different tasks. Maybe you have to put something together. Maybe you have to, I just can't remember everything that you have to do. It's like maybe you have to follow down a path and rearrange your cards so that you can make a straight path. Maybe you have to fix something, but you have dice and you have to spend them in a certain way to fix things. But what's really cool about this is that it's almost like you get to live Star Trek itself.
Right. The next one up on my list is just sort of a space game.
Okay.
It's not really Trekky in particular, but it reminds me of exploring planets and things like that. And it's one of my favorite games. It's called Tiny Epic Galaxies.
Ah, nice.
So this is a card and dice game where you basically have a fleet of ships and you improve your civilization, you conquer some planets. As you conquer planets, you get more abilities. And I just had to mention Tiny Epic Galaxies. It is a competitive game. You play for points. And what else do I want to say? We have an expansion.
It's tiny and it's epic?
It's tiny and it's epic, yes. We have an expansion where you can add on different captains and different ships. So,
the black.
So that you don't just have generic ships that fly out, but you have captains and ships with certain abilities that let you do things.
Yes.
So that's my next pick is Tiny Epic Galaxies.
Yeah, you do love that game. That's a good one. All right, my next game takes on the theme of To Boldly Go Where No Man Has Gone Before, No One Has Gone Before, and that is the search for Planet X.
Oh.
You're trying to find Planet X, and this is kind of like a situation where it's somewhere on the board, and you really don't know, but you know that certain things happen either on that planet or when you're next to that planet or where you're on the opposite side. You'll see certain ships, you'll see certain anomalies happen. And so it's like just a process of elimination. Well, then it's likely going to be here, and you have a certain amount of rounds that you have to be able to find it in.
Interesting. I have that game on a list for a different list.
Different top 5.
But it's a great game, and it's fun to play, and it's a solve the mystery kind of game.
Yeah.
You're looking for this thing, and then you learn, well, it's 2 sections away from wherever an asteroid is. Okay, well, how many asteroids do we know about? Or it's not next to a nebula or something like, what's not next to a nebula and 2 spaces away?
Yeah.
So you're doing this kind of deduction as you go through the game and you try to solve the puzzle before the rounds run out.
Yeah, super fun. Again, another tricky game, but it's just so much fun to get to play it.
I love it. I love it. So the next one up on my list is called Star Trek Panic. This is a game we haven't played in a while, but basically it's based on a game called Castle Panic, where there's a castle with walls in the middle of the board, and a bunch of hazards are coming at it, and you're trying to defend. In the Star Trek version, there's the Enterprise in the middle of the board, and you are trying to defend against, I don't know, Klingons and whatever, Gorns and whatever flies at you. Instead of having castle walls, you have shields, right? And the little cardboard piece that sits in the middle actually starts to get destroyed as the game goes on.
It's an Enterprise ship.
Yeah, it's an Enterprise ship that you slot together, and say you lose your warp nacelle. You pluck it off the ship and it's gone, right? You lose the saucer.
Or you attach pieces of like plasma fire to it.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So basically you fight until you just have a nub of a ship left and you hope you survive the game. And Star Trek Panic is the game.
Good. Okay, I have one pick left. Is that what you have as well?
I have one pick left that we've already talked about.
Okay. Well, why don't you tell yours first then?
All right. The one that was my top pick was The Captain is Dead.
Okay.
We had already talked about that earlier in the video, But one thing I really like about this is it's meant to be a parody game, right? So everybody, all these characters have their abilities, right?
And there's little standees that you get.
Right, and part of the, like for instance, the doctor, there's a doctor character, and he's good at healing people, which in the game is standing them up again.
Yeah.
Right? So that's about all he's pretty good for. And but you know, I just picture Bones running around saying, "I'm a doctor, not an engineer," or whatever. You know, so you have your engineer who works on the main problem, which is to get the warp engine going again. You have your captains and your admirals who work on tactics and fighting.
Guinan, there's a Guinan character.
There's a Guinan character. There are little aliens that come out and board your ship.
Yeah.
And you have to fight off the aliens. There might be a red shirt that fights them off, that kind of thing. But Captain is Dead was my top pick.
That's a good one. You know, I'm remembering that there's also a hologram character. Yes. And so, but when certain communications, certain situations of the ship go down, you don't get that character anymore. It's on hold.
Yes. Yeah.
So until then, you can transfer information. You might be able to share cards. But if that character goes off, you have to be in the same room as that character in order to make things happen. That's a good one. Okay, my number one is actually taken off of the idea of the Kobayashi Maru, which is where you get to keep cheating things and you get to make things up and see if you can make it happen. And it is Star Munchkin.
Star Munchkin, a parody game.
Yeah, so with Munchkin, I mean, it's always about stabbing people in the back and doing whatever you have to do so you can win, which is what Kobayashi Maru is all about. So, and for those who don't know what Kobayashi Maru is, why are you watching this top 5? But it is about...
Shame on you.
It is about, you know, Kobayashi Maru was a test that was given to cadets to see if you're in the situation, how would you make it? How would you win? And it's supposed to be an unwinnable game, but Captain Kirk reconfigured the game and he cheated, and so that he could win. And so that's what I like about Star Munchkin. It's like there are ways to play cheat cards in there so that you can win.
All right, that's our top games that are about Star Trek or adjacent to Star Trek. If you like any Star Trek or Star Trek adjacent games, please let us know. Drop in the comments what you like. Also, if you like what you see in this video, hit like and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Wenzi.
I'm Neelissa Bigfoot. Thanks so much. Bye.